no hair on my butthole, it doesn't itch. We added hair to my butthole, now it itches. We need to subtract the hair from my butthole. So I went home, and I took my dad's disposable razor and his shaving cream, and I shaved my butthole. And I'm here to tell you guys, it made things exponentially worse. It did not solve the itching problem. I went to school the next day and I was like, holy shit, why did I do this? And I had no one to talk to about it. I was like, this is a horrible mistake. So we get to the lunch table, okay? And my lunch table with the cool kids was a place where we could talk about anything. We talked about all kinds of weird stuff. And the topic of today, this one kid was bringing up how hot his cousin was, right? And it opened up a great conversation with all the rest of us about how hot our cousins were. You know, and if anybody thinks that's weird, sorry that your aunts and your uncles created such ugly children, but at this table, we had hot cousins. And we were excited for Thanksgiving to get in there and give them a big hug and be like, just like Kate Winslet, baby. All right, so after this, eyes down, one kid, Chris, was like, guys, I got something crazy. I'm actually growing hair on my butthole. It's complete silence. And then Kyle looks at him and he's like, that's your name now. Butthole hair. He's like, what? And he's like, your butthole hair now. Got it? And then two kids were like, butthole hair. Butthole hair. And then like another kid, they're like, butthole hair. Then all of a sudden the entire lunch table is just chanting butthole hair at Chris. Except for Chris, he's terrified, and me. I'm sitting there because I don't want to join in. Because it wouldn't be honest for me to make fun of Chris for having butthole hair. And earlier in history class, we talked about the Holocaust, and we talked about the banality of evil, how evil comes from the most dull moments. And I said, if I don't stand up now and stand up for Chris, this will be basically Chris's middle school Holocaust. I know that seems dramatic, but I was a very dramatic boy, okay? And I was like, hold on a second. It was quiet. I said, Chris? I got hair on my butthole too. At least I did until last night. And I just gotta tell you, whatever you do, do not shave your butthole. It'll make things so much worse. And you know the first person to talk after that? The first person to talk after that was Kyle, who started the butthole hair chant. He said, yeah, I'm growing hair on my butthole too. It's pretty weird. Isn't that the human experience right there? He was acting out. He felt uncomfortable with who he was, and so he picked on somebody else, even though they were both the same. And we all started talking about even more weird stuff. And I left, and I was like, what a great lunch table. And I went back the next day, and I walked up with my lunch tray to our lunch table, and Kyle says, you don't sit here anymore. I was like, what? He's like, you're butthole hair now. I was like, what? He's like, sit somewhere else, butthole hair. So I sat at like the second coolest place. And then the next day, like the third coolest place. And then from Monday until Friday, I went from sitting with the cool kids until I was sitting at a table with two people, Goth Jason and Ian of the hit joke, Hey Ian. And then it was the weekend, and I thought maybe things would reset. I thought maybe this nightmare will be over and I'll sit back at the cool kids table. And I walked into the lunchroom, and I walked past the cool kids table, and I heard them saying my name, but I kept on walking. And then it got louder, and so I stopped, and I turned around, and I started walking towards them, and I realized that it was Kyle leading a chant that the entire table was saying. They were saying, Kevin's gay, all the way. Kevin's gay, all the way. And all of the tables joined in until the entire lunchroom was saying, Kevin's gay, all the way. And still to this day, it just shocks me that the teachers joined in. You know, I just find that a bit inappropriate. I was keeping a journal at that point in my life as well. me. Nothing good happens after someone says whelp. Whelp journal, it's me. School sucks. It isn't fun with friends, so you can imagine how bad it is when you have no friends. No fun at all. I hate homework, plus everyone makes fun of me. I do have a few friends, not from school. They are named Mom and Dad. Haha, okay, that was funny. Time for bed so I can wake up and have another horrible day. I had to find new routes around the school so that I didn't pass any of the cool kids anymore. I knew exactly where they were at every moment, and one day I forgot my homework and I had to go to my locker, and I knew that if I wasn't going in the next 30 seconds, Kyle was going to go right behind me. And I was fiddling with my combination, and then all of a sudden I heard from behind me, "Hey Doyle!" And I was like, just keep your head down, don't say anything. I said, "Hey Doyle!" And I was like, just get your homework and leave. And I said, "Hey Doyle!" And I turned around and I said, "What?" And right as I said that, the giant blob of spit came and was right in front of me. Fuck it, and I went and I punched him in the face. There was a principal who was standing there right when it happened, and he said, "You two, my office, now!" Now it's important for the story that you know that this principal's name was Mr. Yankov. This is his real name, and there are people that tell me that it's pronounced Yankov, but we did not call him that. We called him Mr. Yankov. I actually learned that a lot of people's last names come from their role in the community. So if you are last name is Smith, you are Blacksmith. Your last name is Carpenter, your family name is well, the Yankovs, absolute perverts. I mean, disgusting. I mean, I enjoyed it as much as the next guy, but for that to be your role in the community? Now, Kyle would always make sure to express his last name. He would always sound it out. He was like, "Yeah, Mr. Yankov." Mr. Yankov couldn't express it back. He couldn't say, "Don't say that," because he knew that it would open himself to being made fun of even more, okay? But you could tell it always annoyed him. And so he got to his office, he's sitting there, he's like, "Both of you, Kyle, you're suspended for 5 days. Got it?" And he's like, "Yeah, thanks, Mr. Yankov." And I walked. "Kevin?" And I was like, "Yeah." "Thank you. I've been waiting to punch that fucking kid in the face all year." He's like, "So I'm not in trouble?" He's like, 5 days, you're suspended. You can't use violence to solve your problems. So I didn't have any friends for months and months. And I remember I was going to science class with a teacher named Mr. Pepper. And Mr. Pepper, he didn't like anyone having fun in his class. He didn't like people becoming friends. And I know that because he would always move everyone around. If you ever started talking to someone and starting a friendship with them, he would separate you and put you in a separate place. And he moved everyone around, and I ended up in the back next to Goth Jason and me. We were sitting back here. And we just happened to be sitting next to each other on a very fateful day. It was the day that the funniest thing that had ever happened in our lives happened. I know it's the funniest thing because it's the funniest thing we have in the world. What is it? It's a fart. It's all we got. We got the funniest thing in the world. I could stand up here and write 60 minutes of the funniest material ever, and all that is just me trying to get as close to what it's like when you just hear someone fart. All striving for that, okay? But this wasn't just any fart, okay? This was a very special fart. Because Mr. Pepper was especially intense that day, so he was like, "All right, I want it absolutely silent in here. You got it? We're taking a test today, and I don't want to hear anything out of any of you." You think that's funny? Imagine it in the heads of a bunch of 6th graders. It was absolute chaos. We were laughing. There was just 30 kids who were like, "Ah! Ah! I didn't know things could be so funny!" We're just busting up laughing, okay? Mr. Pepper's like, "All right, guys, quiet down. Stop. Stop. All right, I want it quiet." And someone's like, "You weren't just quiet just now." And I was like, "Ah! You got him! You fucking got him!" Jason in the back looks over me. He was like, I hope he doesn't die. And I was like, what? And he said, of a massive fart attack. I was like, a fart attack? It's like a heart attack, but with farts. That's hilarious. Everyone is busting up laughing. He cannot control anyone. So Mr. Pepper cancels the test. He's like, no test, we're gonna take it tomorrow. And then he just sits there and he looks forward with like wide eyes, just really like, I'm the fart teacher from now on. My fucking life is over. When Kyle finds about this, I'm a dead man. He leaves class, he comes in the next day, and he's nice. He's a nice teacher. This fart changed the syllabus and his personality. After class, I walked out, and me and Jason are standing in the hallway, and he's like, that was really funny. And I was like, yeah, that was really funny. He's like, yeah, do you want to hang out sometime? And I hadn't hung out with another kid my age for months. I had no friends. I didn't know if I'd ever have a friend again. I looked at him, and he wasn't what I expected my friend would look like when I was in the pool. He was goth, and he had on a Metallica shirt, and I wasn't even allowed to listen to that band, you know? So he said, do you want to hang out sometime? I don't know if I was overly excited or overly enthusiastic. Yeah! I would very much like to hang out sometime. We hung out every single day that summer. We were inseparable. And he even taught me how to play guitar. My dad played guitar for years and wanted to teach me, and it was being friends with Jason that made me want to start playing guitar. And one day, I'm hanging out with Jason, and my dad comes over to pick us up, and Jason's playing guitar. He's super good. And he's like, what are you playing? I said, I'm playing Metallica. And I was like, I like this song. I like Metallica. And Jason's like, do you want to borrow the CD? And my dad borrowed the CD. Started listening to Metallica. And my dad was driving around the car listening to Metallica. My dad has a very weird playlist, okay? Just Les Mis and Metallica. He's like, do you hear the people sing? Master! Master! Master of puppets is calling the strings! Master of puppets, keeper of the zoo. I remember I first went on stage in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. It was just a few months after I got kicked out of the group. And that was part of the reason why my mom wanted me. That's part of the reason why my mom wanted me to audition for the school, so that I wasn't in the best guys. And when I was in that show, it changed my life, and I went on stage for the first time, and I fell in love with performing, and I felt like I was doing what I was meant to be doing. And I looked out during one of the songs, and I made eyes, and in the third row was all of the kids that had made fun of me. And there's this one scene in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, about 20 minutes into the show, where he puts a bag over his head, and he gets to talk about how nervous he is, because he likes this girl. And he's so embarrassed he puts a bag over his head. When the bag was over my head, I was saying my lines out loud, but I was actually thinking something completely different. And you may wonder how I was able to do that. It's because I let my lines come to me, not me coming to my lines. And I was saying my lines in my head, and I was thinking, when I take this bag off, I'm not going to care about what they'll do. And even if they're laughing, it's not going to matter. I took the bag off my head, and I never looked back. And I was in my hometown doing stand-up a few years ago, and I was making the whole crowd laugh. And then in the back, I saw that Kyle, the kid that had been making fun of me, was in the back of the audience. And I was like, I don't know what it was. I just put my head down, took a deep breath, and I continued this. After the show was done, Kyle came up to me and he said, hey man, I didn't know you were a comedian. I said, well, thanks. I hope you hear about the show. He's like, I'm just a comedy fan and I came to the show. Great job. I said, thanks. And I said, well, I'm really sorry for how I treated you. I just feel like fucked up. Thanks for saying that. And flippantly that maybe if that would have happened to me, I wouldn't become a comedian and told jokes and stuff. I was like, thanks for saying that, Paul. These aren't jokes. Nothing wrong with that. An artist who is painting on this palette that we call the stage. Thank you guys very much.
Program contains strong
corners of the stage to the four corners of the universe. Foxworth, I need you to go wild and crazy for your guy, Mr. Tom Davis! Here we are, the great and good Foxworth. Let me tell you, by the way, there's nothing more demeaning than being your own hype man. Your own big special. I've been here since 6 o'clock. I had to put this on. The scaffolding, I was here at 6. But the old spanners back down. That's how I'm rolling, people. A lot of people are saying, right, Portsmouth. Let me tell you why I think of it, right? We arrived in Portsmouth. First thing I saw when I got off the train was someone had kicked the door of Greg's. I looked at that and thought, that's a sign. See, even someone couldn't wait to get their hands on a steak bait, so they kicked the door in, or there was no steak bait, so they kicked it in on the way out. Either way, it's a place I can get on board with. Who do you parents to the room? Come on, show yourselves out. Parents in the room, let's hear you. Doing a good work. I adore my kid. Right? I love this little girl. She's my girl. She's my... I'm not doing that. I've got an invisible dog here. Come on, mate. That's it. All these people are here to see us. That's it. Now, come on. Get up here. Come on. Come here. Come here. Fuck off. Come on. Get up. Shouldn't pick dogs, even invisible ones. Anyway. I love this kid. She's my girl. She's my woman. Right? I have my own anxieties, my own worries as a dad, of course. Big one for me is the breathing thing, right? When my daughter does bother sleeping, I'm in there every 5 minutes just to make sure she's still breathing. Right now. I'm still doing that at 21. Sorry, mate. Didn't know you were staying over. You're only dropping off a pizza. Breaks my arse, you'll see that one day. I also have the big one of the year 2034. Why BT? Why Tom? I'm I've worked out, I've done the arithmetic, I've done the maths. Grace will be 10. Well done, Tom. And I'll be 55. And it will be her first big sports day, right? And I am having anxiety now about that, right? Because I live in an area full of people with young parents. Let's put into context this, right? I remember going to the NCT classes, right? Bowling in, looking around, there's a kid in the corner, he's 16. I think he's a kid himself about to be a dad. God, he must be so worried. So I bowled up to him, I went, hey mate, you alright, you okay? It's nerve-wracking, isn't it? Your first kid, your first child, it's terrifying. He looked me in the eye and he went, I can't even remember my first kid. He's 16! He's going to be 26 at the dad race, he's going to kick the shit out of me. I've joined a gym, Portsmouth. I bowled along, the fellow went, what are you getting fit for? I said, I've got a big race in 10 years. I need to win it. In the gym, there's only one bit of kit I use, the good girl, bad girl machine, you know? This one. Good girl, bad girl. Good girl, bad girl. I like a bit of kit you can sit at. Good girl, bad girl. I'm there for hours. Tube of Pringles, full fat Coke. No, I'll be another hour or something. On an arse like Kim Kardashian. I love the people watching, it amuses me, the people. The other week I was there, right? This fella's bowled in, perma tanned, right? He's in full tennis whites. He'll look around, he'll nod here and there. He walks up to this massive mirror and he's like, myself, this prick is playing shadow tennis and he's fucking losing. In all fairness, I'm taking the cabin. I've done 2 rallies in absolute bits. He played 4 games, he got through to the imaginary Wimbledon final. Incredible player. Oh, that's done, I'm out of breath. Heart's racing, dry mouth. It's a worry, isn't it? Death. It's so. I'm at an age where it's in my mind a lot. I went the other day, did the MOT, you done that? Personal MOT, you go and see what your bloods and all that shit. So I had my bloods done, right? Feel kind of okay, right? Just at the end, the bloke went, oh, while you're here, might as well do your prostate. So you okay with that? I said, not really, mate, I'm on day 12 pants. He said, what do you mean? I'm on day reserve goalkeeper pants. Always in the squad, never in the turn. For anyone in the room who might not like that, essentially it's a pair of crutches, knickers. He said, come on, mate, I've seen it all. I wouldn't be too sure about that fella. You know, just up on the bed there. He said, let's get this underway. He said, you feel quite nervous. What are you nervous about? You're about to stick a finger up my arse. He said, don't be worried, I've done 5 of these already today.